Welcome to tonight's reading of A Tiger for Malgudi by R.K.Narayan. So we stopped where the tiger and the sadhu have decided upon this spot in the Mempi hill range to settle down, and now we continue from where we left. At dawn, it was the habit of the sadhu to go to the spring and bathe, wash his single piece of cloth and wear it, allowing it to dry on his body. He would then pray and meditate and break off to go into the forest and return with an armful of roots, herbs, and leaves, which provided him nourishment. Except those moments when he discoursed to me, he remained silent and often went into deep meditation. Nowadays, the keenness of my hunger was also gone, and I slipped away into the jungle, not too often, only when I felt I could not stand hunger anymore. When I returned from my hunt, I kept myself away until he summoned me. I would be oppressed with a sense of guilt in spite of the fact that when I hunted and killed, I was lost in the thrill of the moment and relished the taste of warm flesh and blood, a luxury I had missed in the circus, where stale meat was thrown out of buckets at feeding time by butchers on contract. It might be any meat, no way of knowing, might be a dog's or a donkey's, dull tasting since the contractor soaked the meat in water to give it weight. So all along I could not help craving for fresh kill. But nowadays, the moment I had eaten my fill, I'd be seized with remorse. And so when I returned from the jungle, I would lie low, out of sight of my master. Even for drinking water, I chose another stream within the forest, since I did not want to sully the spring in which my master performed his morning ablutions. Nor would my master shame me by referring to my night expeditions. I tried to attain some kind of purification by reducing the frequency of seeking food. Nor did I kill recklessly, as I used to in my jungle days. Any game of any size or bulk, I used to slaughter, consume it partly, and return to the fly-covered remnant again the next day. I could not bear to recollect this habit. It nauseated. Nowadays, I went into the jungle and stalked the littlest game, just sufficient enough to satisfy my hunger of the moment, and not my gluttony. And then I didn't go into the forest again for several days, prolonging the intervals as much as possible. I suffered hunger for consecutive days before seeking food again, but felt nobler for it. I felt I had attained merit through penance, making myself worthy of my master's grace. How I wished I had learned the art of living on sugar cane and rice, like the elephant and the hippo of the circus. The chimp would explain how they ate nothing else, which lesson I should have taken from them. How mighty the hippo and the elephant looked, although they ate no meat. At night, I quietly returned to a spot beyond a screen of vegetation, not far from my master, ready to reach his side in a few bounds if summoned. This phase of life I found elevating. The change churning internally was still felt by me, but did not bother me now as it did at the beginning. I was getting accustomed to many changes. If I could have shed the frightening physical encasement God has chosen for me, I could have lived on air or dry leaves, and I would have felt more blessed. Understanding the turmoil in me, my master said, "Do not crave for the unattainable. It is enough you have realization. All in good time. We cannot understand God's intentions. All growth takes place in its own time. If you brood on your improvement rather than your shortcomings, you will be happier. While I learnt a great deal from my master, enough to know myself, understand the world in which I lived, feel and express my thoughts, although understood only by my master, one thing he would not teach me was the art of reckoning. Numbers and figures were still beyond my grasp. To my questioning, he said, "Why do you want to know how long ago or before or how much later or earlier? Not necessary for you. A sense of time may be required for human beings engaged in worldly activities. But why for you and me? I shun all activities and you have none. You have freed yourself from all duties which had been forced on you. And so you need not know what time of the day or what time of the week or numbers or reckoning of before and after, when and how far. In short, you don't have to know the business of counting, which habit has made us human beings miserable in many ways. We have lost the faculty of appreciating the present living moment. We are always looking forward or backward and waiting for one or sighing for the other, and lose the pleasure of awareness of the moment in which we actually exist. Time is not for you or for that matter me, although at some stage of my life, here was some hint of his past, and I pricked up my ears. He understood that I wished to know more about him. Why do you want to know what I was or how or where? It would be unnecessary knowledge. Knowledge, like food, must be taken within limits. You must know only as much as you need and not more. All the thousands of human beings you have encountered since leaving the shelter of your forest life suffer from minds overburdened with knowledge, facts, and information, fetters and shackles for the rising soul. I was a man of the world, busy and active, and living by the clock, scrutinizing my bank book, greeting and smiling at all and sundry, because I was anxious to be treated as a respectable man in society. One day it seemed all wrong, a senseless repetition of activities where one's head always throbbed with the next plan, counting time or money or prospects, and I abruptly shed everything, including, but for a bare minimum of clothes, and fled away from life, from wife, children, and home, possessions, all of which seemed intolerable. At midnight, I softly drew the bolt of our back door, opening on the sands of Sarayu behind our home at Element Street, and while others slept, I left very much in the manner of Siddhartha. They searched but gave up eventually, concluding that I was washed off by the Sarayu, which was in flood at that time. I trudged and tramped and wandered through the jungles and mountains and valleys, not caring where I went. I achieved complete anonymity and shed purpose of every kind, never having to ask what next. And so here I am. That's all you need to know. Although my master had taken the trouble to choose a remote part of the jungle to live in, people seemed to have got scent of us, of the novelty of our life, a man living in the company of a tiger, and began to visit us. The news must have spread from village to village. One morning, watching from his ashram, a sort of table at an elevation, which could give one a view of the surrounding country, we saw a file of peasants approaching at a distance. My master remarked, "Oh, no escape from humanity. They'll pursue you even if you hide yourself in the bowels of the earth. Anyway, you keep yourself out of view so that they may approach without fear." I had been lying on the ground while he sat on the slab of stone, I got up in obedience to his command and moved off to my cave behind the screen of creepers and lantana shrubs. Presently, I noticed from my spot some men arrive carrying baskets of flowers and fruits. They stood away at a distance and called out, Swamiji, are you there? Yes, I am here, but I am no Swamiji. May we approach you? Why not? Anyone is welcome. But you have a tiger with you still? Yes, naturally, but he is not a tiger. He looks like one and we are afraid. Then why do you want to come? For your darshan, sir. That's this kind of talk went on for a while. Don't use the word darshan, he shouted back. Why not, master? Because the word is not appropriate. What does darshan actually mean, sir? We do not wish to offend you. Why don't you come up and ask so that I may not have to shout my answer? Of course, sir, we are naturally here to sit at your feet. Master uttered an exclamation of impatience. Oh, at my feet. Where have you picked up these phrases of mental slavery? Come up, and if you are not afraid, come up if you are not afraid. What makes you think you are safe if it's the tiger that frightens you? He can easily come here too. Nothing to hold him back. Have you not tied him up, sir? Certainly not. I live freely too. So there is no place in my system for any rope or chain or bond of any kind. If you don't muster enough courage and confidence, you can turn back and go. We have come a long way, sir, for your darshan. They were about to say darshan, but again they restrained themselves. I leave you to your discretion. Go back if you like. But they hesitated uncertainly and consulted among themselves. Having taken the trouble to come so far, they didn't want to waste the visit, and perhaps feeling that they might encounter the tiger in any case, even while retreating, in a short while they came up and placed their offerings before my master. When he noticed their preparations to prostrate before him, he said emphatically, I won't allow you to prostrate. They would not listen to his objection. In spite of it, they threw themselves full length on the ground and tried to touch his feet. He shrank back from them and threw himself on the ground as a countermeasure and tried to take the dust off their feet. They scrambled, they scrambled up in great confusion. Oh, Swamiji, you should not do that. We are small men, but you are great. How? How am I great? Because I am not shaven and because I do not wear a shirt. I don't shave because I find it easier not to shave. I don't wear a shirt because I don't have one. But for this, I go about with the tiger because it's God's will. I am not different from you. We are equals, and no need to pay homage to me. It has no meaning. You must prostrate only before God. You should seek only God's darshan. We must not misappropriate the word that belongs to Him, to God, in a temple. Even that I doubt, since the same God resides within all of us. When you address a prayer to God, you are only praying to yourself, or at least you are entitled to half that prayer. And if you are offering a flower, again, half is yours, as a famous mystic poet sung. At this point, he suddenly lifted his head and delivered a full-throated song, his voice rebounding from the rocks. When I bring my palms together and raise my arm in prayer, I am only half praying to you. Is it right to pray thus? His visitors were overwhelmed, but suddenly remembered the tiger and asked timidly, Where is the tiger? Don't think of him. Sit down with an easy mind and tell me your purpose. Why do you spoil your mind with thoughts of the tiger? Having come all this distance, they placed the basket of flowers and fruits before him and appealed, "Please accept this." He just took a single flower and a small banana. "Yes, this will do. Take all the rest back to the children in your village, and the flowers to the women in your village." They sat down again on the ground in front of my master and began to explain. "We are from both sides whom you found fighting the other day. We have come to assure you that we will not fight again. When your honor passed through our village that day, you saw us in a shameful state. We are here to beg your forgiveness." "Ask God for forgiveness rather than ask me. Because of our fight that day, don't tell me. All causes of rivalry and clash are senseless and so need no defining or explanations. Don't ever fight. No cause is worth a clash. We pledge never to fight again. Your gracious presence helped us that day." "Oh, that's good, that's good. You should not depend upon a tiger or a bearded man to help you settle your differences. If you are ready to hate and want to destroy each other, you may find 100 reasons. A diversion of canal water in your field, two urchins of opposite camps slapping each other, rumors of molestation of some woman, even the right to worship in a temple, anything at all may spark off a fight if you are inclined to nurture hatred. Only the foolish waste their lives in fighting." One morning, I was lying at the feet of my master. He was sitting in meditation. Nowadays, he encouraged me to remain close by when he meditated, as it might help me too. At such moments, a profound silence prevailed, and the sublime state to which he had raised his mind carried mine also along. At such moments, I felt lighter at heart, and my physical self also became secondary. My sight became clearer if I lifted my gaze to the horizon. The sun shining on the land filled me with joy. The leaves of the mighty banyan trees sparkled like gems. The bamboos swaying their golden stems with their filigreed leaves. I felt I could ask for nothing more in life. When he read the state of my mind, my master explained, "No one would credit a tiger with so much poetic joy. It is inconceivable." Looking back, I would say that in one of your previous births, you might have been a poet, and your deeper personality retains that vasana still. Whatever one had thought or felt is never lost, but is buried in one's personality and carried from birth to death. Birth to birth. You must have been a poet, perhaps many centuries ago, in the court of a king, your shoulder wrapped in a resplendent shawl, a diamond bracelet on your arm, seated beside the throne, stirring royal hearts with songs of nightingale, moon, roses, or of an aching heart pining away for the lost love. "Oh, Raja, I see a visitor coming up, of all things a woman. Go hide yourself before she sees you. She may faint in my arms." I rose and went behind the screen of lantana bush and the rock. Presently, the visitor arrived, panting. I could see her through the foliage. I couldn't describe a human being. My master never taught me how to distinguish one from another. All humans look alike in my eyes, and my master has confirmed that it is a right view. I could, in a rough manner, identify some special personalities like Captain or the clowns or Rita by prolonged association, and especially by their functions. If I needed to know the looks of any person, I would know it only through my master's description. When he understood my curiosity about this woman, He explained that she was over 50 years old, medium height, dark round cheeks, with grey hair tied up at the back. The lady advanced towards my master, seated on a slab of stone, and prostrated. Madam, you should never prostrate before me. Please get up. I never like anyone to touch my feet. She got up saying, one has the right to show one's veneration for a sublime soul, a saint perhaps. Please sit down, madam. I am unhappy that I can offer you only the bare ground to sit upon, and no carpet or mat. They are immaterial. A great thing is to be blessed with your darshan. Calm yourself, rest for a while, and you don't have to say anything. Feel completely free to remain silent. You don't have to utter a single word. The lady smiled. I have not come all the way to observe a vow of silence. Perhaps I may be under a vow not to hear a word. Quite likely, even then I will speak since I have come all the way. By all means, go ahead. I have not shut off my ears yet. First, let me ask what brought you here. I heard of a remarkable person who went out with a tiger, as if he had taken a dog out for a walk. And I told myself I must see this, Swamiji. It's only this remarkable man who can help me in my search. Don't you see what risk you face by going after a sadhu you have only heard about? He might be a fake. Yes, I fear that too, she said. You might be endangering your virtue too. At my age and condition, my virtue is quite safe. No one will be tempted to molest a grey-haired fat hag. Only they robbed me of the money I had and also a chain and bangles while crossing a lonely forest path. 3 men accosted me and relieved me of my jewelry and a bundle of clothes, too, and went away quietly. Good men, only they robbed, which seems to me less heinous than deserting one's family and home for no reason. How can you say no reason? An inner compulsion is enough to make one take a fateful decision. How I wished I could join their conversation. Not only could I not speak, but I had to keep my cursed form concealed behind the lantana bush in order not to scare the visitor. If permitted, I would have asked, how did you come to know about my master? As if in answer to my question, she was saying, on that day when the tiger was at school, I went there with a neighbor who was searching for her son. The crowd was pressing and suffocating, pushing us about. Everybody was terrified and yet wanted to get a glimpse of the tiger, with the result no one could ever go in. My companion broke down and wept helplessly. Some mischievous persons were enjoying the situation by suddenly crying out, run, run, the tiger has come, the tiger is coming, and kept the crowd running back and forth. I and my friend got separated in the melee. Later, when we met, she told me how she was comforted and helped by a bare-bodied sadhu who was calmly sitting on a culvert outside the school gate. In what manner did the sadhu help her? He told her that the tiger was locked in and would not harm anyone, and also that her son must be with the other children safely sheltered in the school hall. Was that sadhu you? Could be, or might be any other bare-bodied, bearded person. There must be hundreds of them everywhere. But there was only one in that place, and he was offering to lead away the tiger. Oh, did he? And something that she had noticed about him, which she mentioned, made me think. What could it be? He was in the habit of rubbing his finger across his brow while thinking, as you are doing now. It was true. When my master was listening or thinking, He always drew his finger across his bow as if writing something there. The mention of this mannerism seemed to disturb my master's equanimity, but only for a moment. He laughed and said, "That is my habit. Surely I know it. I do it, 100 others may also be doing it, just to probe what's written there by faith, like a blind man running his finger over an etching. And are we not all blind where our faces are concerned, fates are concerned?" But I think I'm almost near to closing. Give me 2 more minutes. By the time he learned about the sadhu, he was gone with his tiger. I went back home and kept thinking. The picture came up before me as to how I had not seen anyone else do it. How, when we sat in the veranda, reclining in his, how when he sat in the veranda, reclining in his easy chair, reading a newspaper, he would hold it in one hand so as to leave the other free to trace his forehead. Or before going out to his office, if I asked for cash or for some domestic shopping, he would always say, "If I conjure up the money," and while uttering the word conjure, he would send his fingers dancing across his forehead, whether joking or serious. He always took his fingers to his forehead. I have also felt sometimes irritated by it and told him, "Oh, oh, keep your fingers off your forehead. It is very distracting." When our son had a problem in his college, you could not listen to him without these fingers almost skinning your forehead. Did he help his son at all? The boy was in constant trouble with a particular master who was rather vindictive, but you went up to their principal and spoke to him, and from that day, you are beginning. I now noticed to use the word you, which is not proper. Keep the he. Even now I notice your fingers going to your brow. Many people have that habit. You see, of all organs, it is the hand that's the most active and independent. The hand acts by itself. When you are not watchful, it can tease you by hiding the keys. It's the hand that goes forward first to strangle a throat, fondle a lover, or bless or thieve. If God had devised the hand differently, the world and human actions and attitudes would have been different. She was listening with adoration. At this moment I sneezed, some insect having settled on my nostril. She asked in alarm, "What is that?" "Oh, some jungle noise, don't worry about it." "Oh, husband, how can you forget the years we have spent together? 20 years, 25, 30, I have lost count." "Don't say husband, it's a wrong word. Husband, husband, husband. I'll repeat it 1,000 times and won't be stopped. I know to whom I am talking. Don't deceive me or cheat me. Others may take you for a hermit, but I know you intimately. I have borne your vagaries patiently for a lifetime. Your inordinate demands of food and my perpetual anxiety to see you satisfied, and my total surrender night or day when passion seized you and you displayed the indifference of a savage, never caring for my health or inclination, and with your crude jocularities, even before the children. I shudder. You should have felt happy to lose such a husband. Why have you not gone after him? No reason, especially when he has left you. He has left for you and your children a comfortable home, all the money he had, and every kind of security in life. If you think over it, you will realize that the surrender has been rather on his part. It was total. He took nothing for himself except a piece of loincloth and all the wealth he had accumulated. Except a piece of loincloth for all the wealth he had accumulated. He didn't take any of it. However, please know that he left home not out of wrath. There was no cause for it, but he left out of inner transformation. You have a strange way of talking now, he said with a touch of firmness. Time for you to start back if you must reach the nearest village before nightfall. I'll take you down, and from the village you can go on. I can't go without you, or let me stay with you. Impossible. What you see is my old shell. Inside it's all changed. You can't share my life. Come home with me. I'll accept you as you are. Keep your beard and loincloth. Only let me have my husband at home. So it's going on. I think I'll have to stop here. So it's at page 171. And now this is the concluding part. So we'll finish it off next
How
time.
many pages there?
2-3 pages.
What page are you on?
This is 171. And it's going to 173, 175, 176.
We can reread some.
Yeah. But otherwise it becomes too long here.